I said something like, I want to face him in the octagon, and all his cousins came out. When I see you in the street and when I see you around, I'm going to do this and that.
Ilia says he wants to submit Islam. How do you think he would do if he went up to 55 and fought Islam?
Yeah, the submission, obviously, you know, that I don't see that happen. Can he knock Islam out?
Yeah,
of course. He could knock anyone out in them two divisions.
Following Della Maddalena's win over Belal Muhammad, Islam Makhachev signaled a shift in focus, and it no longer includes Ilia Topuria. Topuria didn't take this lightly, calling it a clear display of fear and further intensifying the friction between them. What once seemed like a potential blockbuster clash between the reigning lightweight champion and a fast-rising featherweight talent has now evolved into a heated exchange of words. The two have taken verbal shots at each other both during the event and across social media. Topuria has accused Makhachev of deliberately avoiding him, while Makhachev has largely brushed off the challenge, only adding more fuel to the fire of speculation and growing rivalry.
We're having a hard time getting Ilia in there with Islam. And Islam's entire situation, or his entire argument is, I've done this not just once, I've done this twice, it's everything to gain for you, and I have nothing. When the reality is, this should be the undisputed champion versus the BMF champion. That's what this should be. Ilia Topuria should be, right now, the BMF champion. And it's not the first time the mistake has been made to walk a BMF champion out there and not make him...
Topuria has been unrelenting in his pursuit of a fight with Makhachev, openly stating that the lightweight champion is avoiding a real test. During a recent appearance on El Hormiguero, one of Spain's top talk shows, Topuria didn't hold back. Looking straight into the camera with a sharp and serious tone, he said, "The first thing he'll ask for is a ticket back to Russia." He went on to criticize Makhachev's apparent interest in moving up to welterweight, calling it a clear attempt to dodge their potential clash. "He knows I'm the biggest threat in his division," Topuria added, fully leaning into his fearless persona and further intensifying the growing animosity between the two fighters. The clip rapidly gained traction online, igniting discussions across MMA forums and social media platforms. Fans remain split. Some admire Topuria's boldness, while others believe he might be overestimating his odds against Makhachev. Meanwhile, Makhachev has mostly stayed quiet in response to Topuria's remarks, keeping his attention on larger ambitions. He has even hinted at a possible move up to the 170-pound welterweight division, especially now that his friend and training partner, Belal Muhammad, no longer holds the welterweight title.
What makes you want to move up to 155?
Because I really believe that I can beat the current champion, Islam. You can't be a world champion by chance, you know, you have to do things great.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah.
But I like the competition. And I don't like to be a bully and fight with people that I know 100% that I'm...
Makhachev has been clear about his goal, to make history by capturing a second championship belt. However, Topuria sees this differently. To him, it comes across as a straightforward attempt to avoid facing the toughest striker in the lightweight division. Instead of confronting a determined challenger like himself, Makhachev seems to be choosing to move up to welterweight. For Topuria, this isn't just a smart career move, it's a sign of fear, a deliberate effort to dodge a fight he suspects he might not win.
Hypothetical fight against Islam, how do you see that fight going? If it goes to the ground, do you feel confident that you could out-grapple him, or would you try to keep it standing?
My mindset is always the same. I'm always looking to achieve things that no...
Topuria's confidence goes beyond words. He's been steadily climbing the lightweight rankings, stringing together a series of impressive finishes that highlight both his knockout power and relentless pace. Known for thriving in chaotic fights, the idea that Makhachev might be avoiding him is something Topuria refuses to accept. "I know exactly what will happen if he steps into the cage with me," Topuria said in a recent interview. "I've taken down opponents bigger and stronger than him, and I'm only improving." It's a bold claim, especially when you consider Makhachev's dominant grappling and relentless top control. Still, Topuria firmly believes that his striking power and aggressive style would overwhelm the current champion, a belief that fuels his unwavering confidence.
Ilia Topuria may be one of my favorite guys to watch stylistically, how he doesn't force things, not getting emotional, not pushing too hard, also not taking his foot off the gas too much. He's just right there in the middle until he lands the big knockout punch. So I think he could catch Islam, but if that fight goes anything past 15 minutes, I think Islam beats him handedly, just because Islam is a large 155er, and I don't think Ilia...
A Islam yo represento un estilo que él sabe que lo vencería. Él sabe porque yo conozco muy bien de dónde él viene. Cuando era pequeño y participaba en los campeonatos de la lucha grecorromana, he compartido muchos campeonatos con muchos daguestaníes, sé cómo funciona su proceso de pensamiento, sé su nivel de técnica, su nivel de fuerza, sé qué es lo que él...
They asked me then, since welterweight's probably out of the question, what I think about middleweight. And I said, well, that's a possibility, but Islam is a small guy, so he'd have to put on some muscle, you know, if that was ever presented. He couldn't do it at the weight he's at now. That would be pretty tough. You know, he'd have to put on some size to be able to go to 185. It can be done, but he'd have to put on some muscle in order for it to accomplish. But so the way I looked at it is we got one more title defense that he needs to do in the lightweight division.
There's no size difference between Ilia and Islam. It's a 145 versus a 155. Do 45 pounders and 55 pounders not know? You weigh the same thing. You're talking about a 10-pound spread in the worst of cases. Are you aware that Muhammad Ali, when he was the heavyweight champion of the world, weighed 198 pounds? George St. Pierre versus Michael Bisping comes to mind. Lighter of the two, George St. Pierre, winner. I don't know how Ilia would do with Islam. I'm just blown away by the analysis that
it does seem like Islam's on Twitter already saying it's time to be double champion and all the rest of it. So it seems like you are the fight he wants. Do you think that's the one that makes the most sense?
I think that a lot of good welterweights. Obviously, I think Islam's what he's done is probably giving him. I think he deserves the shot if he wants to step up. But I guess that's not my call. It's up to the UFC.
It was a great foundation for a fight like that.
Yeah, Islam's a good. I think it's a good practice.
Going to be Ilia Topuria versus Islam. Is that
well? We all know that fight's happening. The Duplessis versus Hamza fight. It's happening. It's just not happening in the international fight week. That fight's done. Just not happening now.
And Ilia Islam?
What's that?
Ilia versus Islam?
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Islam Makhachev is huge. I mean, that guy, how he makes 155 is, I don't understand it. Every time I stand next to him, you just can't. That just doesn't make any sense. That's crazy. He's so hard to beat. He's so good. If he's not the best, it's you and him for the best.
He be fighting next, Ilia Topuria, or should he get the rematch with Charles Oliveira?
Man, that's tough to say. Who's next in line right now for him? Do you know?
Could be Oliveira, could be Topuria if he goes up.
Yeah, but there's still guys, I think, at 45 for Topuria to fight. And I've never seen Topuria in person, but if he can make 145, dude, Islam's a big guy.
Big guy.
I think he's going to be a lot bigger than Topuria. But that being said, Topuria is an assassin, and I believe he can knock out anybody from 145 pounds to 170 pounds.
You think Islam could become the champion at upper weight class, maybe 170 if he wanted to?
Yeah, I believe Islam could win those.
He's the pound for pound number one right now.
That's the Ilia Islam.
He wants that fight bad, and I think he can win.
happen.
And what makes me think that Ilia will do really well against Islam is Volk's first fight with Islam. I'm like, man, I think Ilia's wrestling is way better than Volk's. And obviously you could see how the striking went. And
But how do you compare Islam's boxing level to Topuria's? Who would win in a boxing match? That's from Jalal. Pound for pound, look, I would tell you it's gonna be Topuria. Topuria is a natural puncher. He's very talented. He's obviously that's his I would say his bread and butter. That's how he wins his fights. They say he's a good wrestler, he's a good grappler as well, of course. But you know, his big thing is he's a stellar boxer. He has great KO power. He has incredible head movement, beautiful defense, footwork, rhythm.
Can certainly match Islam's physicality, and I think is a better overall scrambler. Not a better grappler, but scramble for scramble, I think that Tsarukyan is better. And so he presents challenges in ways that Topuria does not. But on the feet, I think Topuria is a much more dangerous threat. Here's the thing. Tsarukyan will fail on a takedown, but then he'll just scramble and then try again, and then run you into the fence and then try again. Like, he can recover from a failed
matchup, and I can't wait to see how those two approach the dynamic of that fight.
Yeah, it's funny because he's El Matador, right? Like Ilia's El Matador.
Yep.
But I know Islam, their approach in their striking is to be the Matador.
Yeah.
So they even say that. I'm pretty sure they even say that in the corner. I think Javier's like, be the Matador, be the Matador. It's like, bait them, let them do all the work.
Yep.
So they can.
What a champion essentially is supposed to look like. Make the calls, go out there, deliver on the calls, then all of a sudden vacates the title. I mean, how do you feel? Because you said earlier, like you were looking at him and going, there's holes here.
I think it's good for the sport, to be honest with you. I mean, him and Islam, I mean, people really want to see that. Everybody has their own style, and it seems like his style is just doing what he did. Honestly, I believe Islam is just a little too much for him, but I'm also a fan, you know, so I would...
On to 170, do you think he'll have success at 170? You know him well.
Yeah, he's big. He's a good-sized guy, and his skill set is the highest level to compete with anybody. It's not like he's going to be hugely undersized at 170. There's going to be some guys who are bigger than him for sure, but he's strong and solid. I think he'll fit in good. He'll probably be the champ there.
Wow. Okay. You think he can? You think he can get that second title?
Se o Makhachev sobe?
Se o Makhachev sobe,
Não, ele perdeu o cinturão. Se ele, é que nem o Topuria. Eu acho que o UFC vai falar pra ele, ó, escolhe. Agora, se for pra ele, não, vou lutar, aí com certeza vão fazer um interino. Porque não tem como você travar uma categoria. Eu acho, particularmente falando, acho absurdo travar uma categoria. Eu acho que quando o atleta sobe, ou ele tem que largar o cinturão dele, e a segunda opção, na minha opinião, seria fazer um interino. Mas eu acho que quando o lutador sobe, eu acho que quando o lutador começa a demorar pra pensar no que vai fazer, eu já acho que tem que abrir, talvez, aí sim eu acho que talvez teria que abrir um interino. Porque eu acho que a categoria tem que girar, cara. Você entendeu? Às vezes, eu acho que assim, os lutadores, eles lutam muito pra chegar no cinturão, e quando chegam, eles querem sentar em cima do cinturão. E não é assim, cara.
His manager said that, he's the most well-rounded fighter of all time. And I've been saying he's the most well-rounded fighter in the lightweight division. And the reason why I don't go all time is only because of Demetrius. I think Demetrius is unbelievable. So for me...
But what about John Jones?
John Jones is another unbelievable, well-rounded guy. But in the lightweight division, I can easily say Islam
for sure
is hands down. And I've been saying that two guys that are in contention for that title, and that is John Jones and that's Demetrius. But having Islam in that category, it's unbelievable because at the rate he's going, if he continues going, he could very well end up becoming the GOAT. It's a good possibility. It's a good possibility that could happen, and he would have earned it. So let's see. But it's a good problem.
You think Ilia should get in the fight against Islam?
That's the fight to make for him. I can't believe saying he should have. I can't believe you're saying he should have just he vacated the belt.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, two champions.
So he gave it up to go fight.
He's saying he's not anymore of featherweight. He's just lightweight, and he's champion. You had I know Islam saying first fight he say, I don't want to fight small guys, but what's name? Ilia is fucking the biggest name.
180 right now. He said, yeah.
I think Islam Makhachev, especially he vacated his belt, and he's not anymore 145, and he's the best deserving contender for the 155 belt, but somehow Islam ignoring him. I'm sure you guys, everybody remember that Islam told me only press conference.
Mirab, I don't have nothing for you, just respect, but when you have some real contender, just fight.
And I said contender as a Ilia Topuria, but he's not fighting because he's saying some other things.
He gave the he left 145 because of that. Because they said, okay, we're gonna give you title fight.
I heard it's like Islam saying that he's not fighting, right?
Islam doesn't want to fight him because if he wins him, people are gonna say, okay, you again beat 145 fighters, and he's not number one contender. If Islam beats me, and then I think he's done with this division. He beat everybody. Just he gotta beat me, and then people can say that.
So what? They're gonna sign that fight? Is it coming?
If he
maybe 50-50, that fight, or maybe 60-40 to Islam Makhachev, because he's really good. He's have a really good cardio, really good, really strong, really good. His striking is good also, and also he's good grappler. It's gonna depends how long Topuria gonna stay like defense takedown and keep it hitting really hard, you know. And I think not too many guys can do that by